Dear little ones, before you dive into the story, I have some exciting news. I'm launching a brand new show on Patreon. The more support I get from you, the better the videos will be. Longer, more detailed, and filled with all the content you love. Your help makes all the difference.
For the second time since I'd been stuck here, Susu, the tree goddess, grabbed me. She flew through the giant subterranean house and headed straight for the punishment room again. This time, Susu seemed more upset than before. "Why do you have to disappoint me?" she said, her voice cold. I wasn't sure how to respond. How do you talk to a tree goddess anyway? "I'm not trying to disappoint you," I said, my voice trembling. "You want to leave me," Susu accused. I tried reasoning with her. "I wasn't trying to leave you. I have a life. I need to get back to it." Susu stared at me in silence for a moment, then said, "You disappointed me." She sighed and grew to about 8 feet tall. She had been her full size, 30 feet before. She grabbed me by the neck and tied me to a wooden post. Then, her arm transformed into a vine, and she whipped me 10 times. It hurt more than the last time. When it was over, Susu returned to her giant 30-foot form and flew me to a different part of the house. This time, it looked like a giant bedroom, perfectly sized for a creature like her. There was a new pen in the corner, much smaller than the one I had been in before, with a single bathroom hole and less food, just a few apples. The pen was in a strange spot, right next to a massive nightstand and a tree bed big enough for a giant. Susu dropped me into the pen and shrank down to about 6 feet tall. "Susu thinks you're bad," she said. "Susu doesn't understand why you're trying to escape." I looked at her, trying to hold my ground. "I'm not being bad. I just need to go back to my life. Back to my job. Back to everything." Susu's eyes narrowed. "Your job is bad. It destroys the environment. You do not live in harmony with nature as you should." "Listen, lady," I slipped, my frustration getting the better of me. "Sorry, I mean, Susu. People don't live like this. We need homes, families, movies. We go out to eat." Susu's eyes glowed red with anger. "That is an evil way to live. You must live with nature, not destroy it." Fine, I thought to myself. Reasoning wasn't going to work. I needed a new plan. I had to earn her trust again, just like before. Over the next 2 weeks, Susu treated me like a pet, watching me, feeding me, and even talking to me about nature. As bizarre as it sounds, I started to understand her twisted logic. She wasn't a monster, at least not in her own eyes. She truly believed what she was doing was right. Another week passed and Susu visited me again. "You've been good. Do you want to go back to the other pen?" "Go back?" I asked. "Yes," Susu said. "Be friends with Sherry again, but do not try to escape. Promise, Susu." At this point, I realized trying to escape outright wasn't going to work. I nodded. "I promise." Susu flew me back to the larger pen. As she dropped me inside, I came up with a new plan. Susu cares for us. She cares for living things. If we refuse to cooperate, maybe she'll let us go. Sherry told me before that Susu doesn't like to see things she cares about die. I could use that. Sherry rushed towards me, wrapping her arms around my neck. "What happened?" I was worried. "I thought you'd never come back." "I'm fine," I reassured her. She whipped me a bit, but I'm okay. Then I told Sherry my new plan. "I'm going to stop eating." Sherry looked at me, shocked. "Why?" As I was away, I realized Susu doesn't want us dead. She could have killed us by now, but she hasn't. She's not a murderer. She actually thinks she's protecting nature. If we die, it would hurt her. I think if we stop eating, she'll have no choice but to let us go. Sherry frowned. "I don't know. That sounds risky, and she doesn't give us much food anyway. Just fruit and nuts." "I know," I replied. "But what other choice do we have? This place is too big, too bizarre to escape, and I don't want another whipping." Reluctantly, Sherry agreed to let me try, but she didn't join in. For 2 weeks, I didn't eat a single apple or nut. I only drank water. My clothes became loose, and I was lightheaded all the time. I spent most of the day sleeping because I didn't have the energy for anything else. Susu watched me, her expression curious. After about 3 days of this, I passed out. When I woke up, I was tied to a giant chair. My hands and feet were bound with roots. Susu, in her 6-foot form, stood over me. "Why don't you eat?" she asked. "You need to eat." I glared at her. "I'm not eating until you let me go." She wasn't having it. She grabbed an apple and shoved it into my face. "Eat or be punished." I didn't want another whipping, so I took a few bites. After I finished the apple, she forced more food into my mouth, nuts, apples, anything she could find. "Eat. You look famished." I had no choice. I chewed and swallowed. After the 3rd time, she flew me back to the pen. I was more frustrated than ever. Was I ever going to escape this nightmare? The old man, the environmental lawyer, walked up to me. "You should enjoy it here. This is paradise." "Shut up," I snapped. "I've seen man destroy everything," he continued. "The environment, the world. Susu loves us. She wants what's best for us." "Shut up," I shouted. But he wouldn't stop talking. Eventually, I shoved him. Immediately, Susu flew in. "No violence." "Be nice." That's when I came up with my new plan. If Susu didn't like violence, maybe I could push her into kicking me out. I'd be a jerk, so difficult she'd have no choice but to either let me go or kill me. And to be honest, at this point, I'd rather die than live like this. End of chapter 3.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Mommy Sarah's Story Time. If you enjoyed the stories, please support the channel by liking and subscribing. Remember, my channel is not monetized, and I write most of the content myself. On occasions when I don't, it's sourced through emails from trusted contacts. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. If you're able to, consider making a donation to support our channel. Your support means a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to sharing more stories with you.